lead-ins are interesting because there's so many out there. For me, I try and be fairly straightforward, but I also want people to know I'm local. So usually I'll say something to the effect of, I work for a local company here doing merchant services. Kind of start it off that way. Or if I have somebody right next door to them that I work with, I'll ask them if they know Johnny at Johnny's Cleaners that's right next door to them. Just tell them, hey, I work with him. Why don't y'all, visit with him? I take care of him, and we're a local company, and kind of start that way.
How about you, Kelly? What lead-ins did you used to use back in the day?
I don't ever want to waste anyone's time, but at the same time, I felt more comfortable trying to build a little bit of rapport with them or a little bit of a friendship before jumping right in there. So typically, the second I walk in the door, I would try to notice something of interest, meaning some people may have trophies all over the wall because they support their kids' local Little League team, or typically someone has something presented in their business that's something they're proud of or something that's important to their family or their business. And so a lot of times I will lead in by making a comment or an observation of something about their business or ask them about their business. But I also have learned, sometimes by mistake, that I don't want to waste their time by just rambling on for too long, because then they're going to wonder what I'm really doing in there. And so quickly I will then transition into the reason that I'm here is to try to help you and try to build a win-win working situation. And I definitely will use referrals and talk to them about other people near them that I currently work with, just to help them know that other people that they trust and they know also trust and know me. So I feel like that's important, because at that point I'm probably a stranger to them and they don't know who I am.
So if you can't tell, Kelly usually takes a while on a lead-in. That's kind of the point of the story.
My lead-ins are secret. I'm the #1 rep 2 years in a row, so I can't give out all my secrets. No, I'm just my lead-ins is just very basic. I usually introduce myself, let them know who I am and the purpose of my visit, and I usually just ask, who do I need to speak to? If they're not available, I try to get as much information as possible as far as when are they usually in the office, or maybe what kind of vehicle they drive. So if I see it out in the parking lot, I know they're going to be there. And you always have to ask, when is a good time to visit with this person?
One of my favorite lead-ins was, when I'd walk into the business, I'd basically say, hey, I'm in the area, I'm actually working with a couple of your neighbors. I'd love to work with you and see what I can do to earn your business.
As far as lead-in and stuff, I try not to make anything really robotic or do the same thing every time. One of the things I do, like I'll give you an example. Let's say that if you go into a merchant and there's a no soliciting sign and you're scared to death of doing it. All I do is I go in there and I'll say, hey, I'm in your area. I'm out educating businesses about some new rules and some new changes going on with merchant services. So that way I'm not selling them, I'm educating them. And if they say, oh, by the way, I didn't know that or I didn't know that, I wonder if that's happening to me. Yeah, well, let's get your statement now. I can tell you. So that's a great lead-in. Other than that, I might just go in and I'll either say, I work with a bunch of your neighbors here in the area, or, hey, I'm a local processor from whatever town you live in. I'm a local processor, and I'm helping people out with merchant services. I mean, real simple. But a lot of times I'm going there, we're making jokes, we're talking about something on the wall or whatever else, or just goofing and being goofy, just so people think you're just a regular person, not a salesperson to sell them. Then they're like, oh, cool, by the way, this is what I do.
When I go in to talk to a new business, I just try to mix things up. I don't go in, I'm not strictly business. I try to cut up with them and just introduce myself, get to know them. My biggest thing is I'll tell them that I have so-and-so that's right down the road, and I may not even know who that person is, but I try to go in and let them know that I'm working that area, and I may just know somebody in that town and say, oh, well, I work with that person, and they asked me to come down here and see you, and that seems to really work well.
Now I walk in and say, I'm a credit card processor. That's what I do for a living. Okay. And I smile and I shake their hand, look them straight in the eye, and I'm comfortable. So I'm pretty much honest and straightforward.
I believe that when you go out cold calling, follow up is key in this business, because and impulse. A customer buys things sometimes or changes on impulse. If they're not happy with what they're doing, you need to take advantage of the situation and try to help them. But on cold calling, I believe that you really need to follow up. If you get a statement, I believe that it's key to go back and talk to that person again, face to face, not call them on the phone, but I truly believe you need to go back face to face and talk to that person and try to get that deal signed.
The most important thing about cold calling is being consistent, and you got to be self-motivated, and you don't want to judge a business by the curb, because I've gone to businesses where it just looked like it wasn't even a business, but I saw a Visa MasterCard logo on the window, so I said, you know what, let me go in here and try to figure out what this business is. And some of these businesses, you would never know it, but they do a ton of volume behind closed doors, and you never even know what kind of business it is. So you have to be consistent, go into as many doors as possible. Try not to skip around. Just kind of just go door to door and ask for referrals.
The most important thing about cold calling is cold calling, going to do it. I mean, literally, if you don't go out there, if you're scared to death, if you're scared of your own shadow, you just got to go out there and just go. You go on one side of the street, drive up, hit every single business going on that route, stop in, see them. Talk, hey, I'm helping your neighbors with merchant services. I'm a local processor from San Antonio or wherever you're from. That's it. As far as overcoming objections, it's crucial to ask questions. If you just start telling them, you're a salesperson, they won't do business with you. If you ask them questions and find out, because sometimes they might say, well, I'm happy with my current processor, or whatever objection they give you, that's really not the real issue. You start digging deeper and deeper and deeper, you find out the real issue is, well, I got burned before and I'm kind of really scared about it. Oh, I mean, I totally understand. I hear that all the time. You know, what is it that I can help relieve from you or help you feel better about that this is not going to be the same situation? You got to probe and really find that main issue, that core issue, and that's how you'll make the sale.
When I go into other businesses where I shop at or I eat at, my job always seems to come up. I either talk about, well, who do you use for your credit card services? And it's a small talk. Or if we're eating out somewhere, I'll ask them, who do you use on your credit card services? And I've even gone as far to, when they give me the check, I give them my card in return, and it starts a small conversation.
I view any interaction with a business as an opportunity. And even on the weekends or even in the evenings when I always view myself as working, and I found that it's much more successful when I have that viewpoint. And sometimes if it's a busy weekend, it may not be the appropriate time to sit down and look at a business owner or a restaurant statement, let's say, but I can introduce myself and create the interest, and then set a time where it is more appropriate later on in the week during the work week that I can come back and talk to them. And I found when I am a customer at a business, they are much more likely to listen to me and want to hear what I have to say. And it's honestly easier, I think, in those situations for places that I go on a regular basis, where I get my hair cut, or where we do our dry cleaning, or restaurants we eat a lot, or just any place that I'm a customer on a regular basis. I definitely, as their customer, I want them to be my customer too. And so I feel like in those situations I already have an easy lead in because I am already one of their customers.